Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a long time. So stuff that's been going on lately, and stuff I just started learning about. I think it'd be important for everyone. So one thing I learned is that, when you look at women's behavior, it's kind of like it's like they don't have any sort of today, these days. I don't know how it was in the past, but these days it's as if they don't have it sounds bad, but it's as if a lot of women don't have a conscience in how they conduct themselves and how they treat men and how they empathize. It's like as if their only subconscious desire is that of their own prosperity, and they do not care about other people. Now, of course, I'm not saying that's all women, but there's such a sizable quantity I'm noticing today. I remember there's a report that stated that 70% of women today have mental disorders. And I see it all the time. I see stuff like that all around me. Man, it's kind of a grim holiday this year. I'm gonna be honest. The world is not that bright. It's different. It's a different world today than last year even. How do I say? When I go outside, I notice a strong disconnectedness between people, especially where I'm currently at. People are disconnected. They're all very much in their own worlds, and they all have a pessimistic, assumption of the other person. They have a pessimistic assumption. A lot of people do. They'll, if you meet a stranger, a lot of the times a stranger will think something negative of you before they think something positive of you. And I don't know. It just has a strange energy to it. Anyways, I had a date a few days ago. It was a girl I met in Grand Central. So it was an amazing night I had in New York. So I was in New York, and I met a lot of beautiful girls. I messed up so bad, though. I met a girl who actually really liked me, and she was my type of girl. That was my 10. Then I got excited about it, and I over-texted, and bam, she lost interest. She was even trying to invite me back to the nightclub where I was at. She was trying to invite me back to meet up with her, but I texted her 50 times, and I guess that turned her off. It worried her, or not worried her, but it's just unattractive when, I guess, to some girls, when a guy is over-invested so quickly. And I was definitely over-invested really quickly. So that ruined it. But if I didn't do that, I think I would have met that girl again. She was inviting me back to the nightclub where I was at. So, and then I was actually dropping off another girl. This girl asked me, she was like, "I'm drunk, can you walk me home?" Blah, blah, blah. And I walked this girl home. Oh my God, this is interesting. So I'm walking this girl home, and she's this student at the University of New York. I'm talking to her for a bit, and she's saying, oh my God. She was being rude, first of all. And I was just thinking to myself, this is a drunk chick. I felt morally wrong for just walking away. But wow, so I stuck with her for that reason. I just felt like it would have been immoral to leave this drunk girl in the cold New York streets and just walk home, right? So she was telling me I live close by, blah, blah, blah. So I was walking her back, and she was being pretty rude. She was saying, she was saying some rude shit. She said, I guess she was just trying to she was saying rude shit. And then once I got the text from the other girl inviting me back to the nightclub, I told her that. And then she looked annoyed by it. She looked it hit her that, wow, this guy doesn't really want me. Wow. She's one of those girls who assumes that every guy wants her, and every guy wants to get in her pants. And I wasn't that into her at all, to be frank. I didn't make any advances on her. I didn't say anything seductive, no flirting. I was just kind of all right, I'll walk you back. And I was kind of making jokes on the way back and just telling her jokes. And then she gets back to her place, and I guess just her ego was hit or something, because when that girl texted me and she saw the excitement I had, but that, I think it hurt her ego. And I remember then, right when we get to her place, she completely ignores me and just walks in and closes the door. Then she turns around and sees that I'm surprised, and she has a slight smirk because she's great, I hurt his feelings. Or great, he's not completely, He doesn't completely not care about me. I'm still valuable some way. That's the type of character she had. So even if she didn't like me, she didn't like the idea that I wouldn't like her because it would make her self-esteem lower. That was her mentality. But anyways, so I went back to that nightclub, and I am an idiot because I walked with this girl a while back, right? I was walking her back for a while, and right, you know what I should have done would have been in the best interest for me if I was selfish and just, only cared about myself. I would have been like, hey babe, it's nice to hang out with you, I gotta go. And I would have just left that girl on this, just drunk on the street, and just went back to the nightclub. But I didn't do that because, I have a conscience, right? I wouldn't do something like that. That's the thing about women. A lot of women don't have that faculty. They don't have that sort of like conscience faculty. They don't think, wait, this is the wrong thing to do. I shouldn't do this. This is right. This is wrong. This will hurt someone's feelings, and that actually matters. It matters that person's feelings get hurt. That person will get, upset or this. They don't really acknowledge that. It's always just like, I want this, and I don't care what else anyone thinks. I just want this, and they just kind of like go towards it. Of course, I'm not speaking of all women, but there's a sizable amount of women like that. So I head back to the nightclub, and by this point, I head back like 30 minutes after this girl texts me, and I text her, and then she responds like 15 minutes later saying that she left a while ago. So I was pretty disappointed, and then that's when I over texted, because number one, I was like excited about this girl, but I was also feeling like I did something wrong by not getting back to her sooner, or maybe that made her feel like I didn't think much of her, so I kind of over-invested, and I guess that kind of made her think I was weird. I just wrote like too many texts. I was just like, yo, it would be great to hang out this time, blah blah blah, you were so cool, you had such a good I was saying all that, and yeah, I guess a lot of girls don't like that. From my experience, I noticed, I don't know why, but a lot of times girls really don't like when you over-invest too quickly, when you like talk and like explain how much you like them too quick. It weirds them out. Or something. You just don't do that. You could do that sometimes. Like, I have done stuff like that before, but it works in person way better than it does on text, for me at least. In person, it's way better. By text, it's just weird. If you're going to overinvest, just do it in person. And do it with the air of, like, lightness and joy. Don't do it with, like, neediness and, like, depression. Some guys do that, and it's not good. Anyways, then I'm going back home. Oh my God, guys, think about this. This is crazy. There was this very, very sexy Russian girl that I was walking next to. And I approached her from the side. And that night, I've been looks maxing, right? So I do look good. And I am getting looks by women at this point when I like walk around. I go to places. I do get eye contact by women. I do get smiles out of nowhere. I'm starting to get that because I've been looks maxing, and I guess my appearance is pretty good, and I dress well, so I have all these factors that are making me seem like an attractive guy to women, I guess. But so I was there's this really, really hot Russian girl, like she's very sexy, and I saw this like homeless looking 50, 60-year-old guy kind of stalking behind her. And I was like, okay, this is a little weird. He looked like he was like lusting after this chick while she's like walking in front of him. It was one of those things. He was like one of these like creepy old guys, and he was really creepy looking because he looked legit homeless. He had like this hat on. He had a whitish beard, and I approached her from the side, and she's Russian, right? So she's very reserved. So I start talking to her. I'm like, I said something like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, I said, I don't know. I just kind of walked up and I smiled and I said something, and then she took off her headset and she gave a slight smile back, right? She's like Russian, so she's kind of reserved, right? And we were getting to a conversation. She was a little bit cold at first, and then she was opening up and she started talking more, smiling. She was asking me like, what do I do, etc. So all indicators of interest. But here's the problem. Okay, the homeless looking dude behind me interpreted, or maybe he was just trying to cock block, but he interpreted her behavior of being a little bit like less talkative as lack of interest, and he started coming from behind saying, excuse me, sir, I don't think she wants to talk to you. He's like saying this. And then I like try to ignore him. I'm just, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then I turn back to the girl. I'm talking to her. She's still like, she's looking at me. She's still talking to me. Then he starts saying that again. And then I turn around. I'm like, at that point, I was just so weirded out. And the girl kind of pauses. And then I like look at the guy and I look back at her and I just started walking away. I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not interested in getting in a fight with a homeless dude in New York on a Saturday night. even if he was doing something wrong and I was in the right, even if I should have stood up for myself there and just been like, you know, told him off. I'm not interested in getting a fist fight with a homeless dude, you know. So I just kind of walked away. I was like, Jesus. But the thing that I recognized was like, oh my God, some guys will do crazy things to cockblock another guy. He was getting upset that I was having a conversation with this girl, something he could not do. And he was trying to take out his frustrations on it. So he was just cock blocking because he's insecure and he can't get any results of his own, so he has to ruin other people's. But yeah, he was far gone. There's no way that guy is going near any woman at all. He was gross. That guy was nasty looking. Anyways, one other thing I noticed, I have been doing like business stuff and I got my finances way up, and it's really interesting. I notice I'm behaving quite different since, you know, I know that like I'm at this point, I'm like way making a lot more than most guys from business stuff that I do. I noticed that, and I noticed that when I walk around in New York, and it's not just by the way I'm dressed. Like I'm dressed decent, right? I dress with a decent level of style. There's also like my behavior, like people can kind of tell that I am wealthy, or that I'm like, how do I say? People could tell that I'm doing well, that I'm like successful in whatever way, right? And when certain guys see this, it makes them envious. It makes them very envious, you know, like, and I never used to get that before, but I got a strange level of envy from random dudes. But I also got a lot of adoration from a lot of different women, like very attractive women. As I was out, I was getting a lot of signals of attraction and interest from women. So it was interesting. It's like, as sad as it is, it's like, if you are very successful with women, a lot of times you'll be very unsuccessful with making male friends. That is the truth. I really do think that. I think there's definitely an envy aspect, and also like a realization on the guys' parts that like you will outcompete them when it comes to any women that's around, and they get intimidated by that subconsciously, and they want to like get you out of their circle, doing whatever it takes to get you out. That happens. So that's why a lot of guys who are very successful with women are not very popular among men. Think about Justin Bieber, you know, like. So that's the one example. But so here's the crazy thing. So I'm going back home. So I'm at the train station, Grand Central, at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was doing really funny, like I was doing jokes. Like I was I was making I was improvising really funny jokes as I'm like at the station by myself. Like there's a group of girls, they're pretty hot, right? And they're sitting down, and like I walk over to them like pretending I'm about to ask directions. I'm like, excuse me, ladies. And then I'm like, I pull out my phone. I'm like, do you know what this is? Do you know how to get here? Then she's like, what is that? And I was like, oh, right here, this is a stork. It's a bird. I was just wondering your opinion on it. And I was like showing her an image of this bird on my phone, like in the middle of Grand Central Station at 5 o'clock in the morning, while she's sitting down with her friends, like wondering what the hell's going on. And she's like, why do you want to know my opinion about a bird? I was like, well, it's pretty cool. It's prehistoric, you know. I was saying stuff like that, and it was really, really funny. Man, I had a really freaking hilarious night that night. And then like I was in the subway, and there's a group of 3 girls. I noticed a lot of 3-packs of women this night. A lot of girls out in threes. So there's another group of girls, 3-pack. One was a professional model. One was a pretty blonde girl. I don't know what she did, but she was cute. And the other one was pretty average. But I walk up and I was like, I said something like, I remember I made this up. I just think it's hilarious. It's not the joke itself, but the timing and the context that makes it really funny. So like, it was 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in New York in a subway. Saturday night or morning, whatever. And I walk up, I'm like, ladies, what do you call a boring orangutan? Then they're like wondering what I'm doing, and I'm like, then I say a borangutan. And like, I started laughing really loudly about that, and then they started cracking up like hysterically about that, just because like it was so random. It wasn't the joke itself. It is kind of funny, but not really. It was more the context of it. And then there was then the girl, the blonde girl was like, she's like an airhead type of blonde chick, so she's like, she listens to the joke, and then she's like trying to continue it. She like laughs. She's like, what do you call a boring chimpanzee? And I was like, what? And she was like, Borshambanzee or something like that. She said something like that, and it wasn't funny, but I pretended to laugh because I didn't want to make her feel bad. So I was like, ah. Then she was like, what do you call a boring baboon? And I was like, what? And she said, a baboring. And then I started laughing. I was like, that joke died. I said that joke died. And then all her friends started laughing. It was so funny. Oh man, that was funny. All right. But, then I get out of there. Just FYI, guys, I've been known as a really funny dude. My friends that I've had in the past, they have told me I'm the funniest guy they've ever known. Just saying. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm funny. Okay? So, then I'm in the Grand Central Station. This is crazy what happened. This was awesome. This was badass. All right. I'm in the station, and my confidence is kind of high because, you know, I was successful at that nightclub. A lot of girls were showing me interest, whatever. Not really, but some were definitely showing me interest. And I am at Grand Central Station. It's not because they were showing me interest. I was just in a good mood. I just felt good. I wasn't really getting that great result or anything, but I was in a good mood. So I'm at Grand Central, and there was this like kind of, she was sexy, like this Spanish chick. She wasn't really sexy. She was interesting looking. I don't know. She looked very like artistic, like facially. She looked like she had a very good facial structure, right? Something like that. And she had a nice ass. But anyways, she's in the middle of the station. I walk up to her and I start talking with her, and I'm like, I did the same joke about the bird. I like show her the bird on my phone, and I'm like, I was like, last year, what do you think about this bird? You know, and she was like, she didn't find it that funny, but we continued talking, and for a really short amount of time, we were like literally talking for like 2 minutes, and then, like, somehow, I don't know why, my behavior and my physical features and the way I was looking at her kind of conveyed, like, I conveyed to her that I was into her, like, I liked her, and I had like kind of a slight smirk on my face. I gave her some sort of like, you know, I just made it really obvious that I wanted to get with her, like, just by the way I was looking at her and like the way I was talking to her, and I had some sort of excitement in my eyes, but I was also filled with a lot of desire for this chick. She was attractive to me, right? So she picked up on that, and I asked her, like, we talked for a bit, and then I get her number. I tell her, like, you know, I was like, we should hang out sometime. I get her number. Then she continued talking a bit, and then like we hug, and then I asked her if I could kiss her. And she said, I asked her if I could kiss her. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in a Grand Central Station, and she was like, I guess she was like hesitant. She told me no, and I was like, why not? And like I was like, kind of like taken aback, and not really, you know, I wasn't expecting a kiss there or whatever. And then she started asking me something. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I kind of was feeling awkward. And then she goes in for a kiss on me, like literally a moment after that. She's like laughing, and then she goes in for a kiss on me, and we did a heavy makeout session in the middle of the station. And the security guards and everything were like looking at us, like, and I make out with her for a bit. She was pretty sexy. She's from Colombia, and she has a sexy, like, Colombian accent. She was pretty hot. I don't know. She was like kind of more like on the she was about my height too. So, you know, she was about my height, and she was pretty. I'm gonna give her like a 7, maybe close to. If she was a bit younger, she'd be an 8. She was 26. If she was like a 20 years old, I think she would be around an 8. But at her age, I'd say probably 7, maybe. You know, women, I think, are more attractive when they're like early 20s, in my opinion. But so that happened, and then I go on the train, and I'm headed back home, and I don't know, guys. Your appearance matters a lot. And it's not just how you genetically look, but how you dress and, style yourself is really important. And also, like, things like teeth whitening, having clear skin. Your diet is super important, guys. I'm going to tell you the biggest thing I did for looks maxing was definitely, going on a carnivore style diet. That has a huge effect. There's some girl who responded in one of my messages. Surprisingly, there's some lady responding in one of the chats. I'm on my phone right now outside, so I don't remember what one, but she was saying something like, sometimes girls, guys don't take a hint. Like I was talking about how, like, sometimes girls are just, like, very disrespectful to guys and, like, etc. And she responded by saying sometimes guys don't take a hint, blah blah blah. And she's saying that's a lot of times that's why women are disrespectful to guys. I would have to disagree with her on that part. I definitely do think guys don't take a hint, but I think the one of the most disheartening things is to see how differently men get treated by women depending on how they look. For instance, you could have a very good looking guy and he could be so rude and so disrespectful and so arrogant to this girl, and she will not be rude to him at all. That I see that all the time. So, but then you could have an unattractive or just average looking guy act the same way, and girls will treat him terribly. You could have a guy who even acts nice and is a good guy who gets treated terribly just for no reason. You got to keep in mind that a lot of women have aggressive intentions. They're not good people. A lot of women are not good people. Okay, a lot of women have a lot of malice. They are wanting to cause harm in somehow, and you gotta just, like, realize that some women are not right in the head. They're evil people. Like, I'm not saying, I'm not. Of course, I'm not saying that's all women. I'm saying, but there are women like that out there, and they're not as uncommon as you think. I've had a lot of history with women. I've been very successful. I've been not successful. So I've had a lot of experience, and I know how. I feel like I understand the complete, like, a very, very large degree of, like, female psychology. I've been studying female nature for a long time. I've been reading on it. I've been practicing it. I was involved with PUA, pickup artist stuff. Yeah, I just think that that comment the girl made saying about how guys don't take a hint is just kind of, like, really short-sighted. Anyways, that would be my talk. Any questions or anything, just leave them below, and I'll try to. I don't know. I don't know if people are getting value from my videos. So I don't know if I should keep posting these. But if you guys enjoy like listening to them, I kind of enjoy speaking. So, yeah, man. All right. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.